Hi. Bit of a vanity project here today. Let me explain. When I came to this country as a 7 or 8-year-old from Hong Kong, my parents eventually, after renting a few places and buying and selling a couple of places, went to live at a place called Arrow Mill, which is up near Leominster in Herefordshire. And Arrow Mill, as its name implies, was right by the side of the River Arrow. Now, I was an only child. I didn't know anyone in this country. And I was going to an all-male school, boarding school up in London called Harrow. And my parents lived here, right here at the end of this little driveway here. That was our driveway. If you look at satellite view, you can see, where are we? Yeah, there it is, right there. Arrow Mill. And I didn't have much to do, to be quite honest, so I had to keep myself. I didn't know anyone in this country. And I was basically trapped on this farm until, at the age of 16, I got a moped, and that gave me my freedom. And I went all over the county on that little 50cc moped, as far south as Bredwardine, where I had a school friend who had some fishing on the Wye, and as far north as Ludlow, where I had another school friend who had, well, in fact, they had a huge stately home there, you know, complete with butler and what have you, and I occasionally used to go to dinner there, and, you know, you'd have a formal dinner with service and what have you. But to keep myself amused, I used to do an awful lot of fishing on the River Arrow. And during that time, I learnt how to tie flies. And recently I found my old recipe book for flies. Oh, incidentally, before I go on this farm here, Bury Farm, this is the road to Leominster, Bury Farm, a guy called Jack Best used to live. And Jack Best was one of the 3 wicked uncles of Colditz. One of the guys who built the glider in the roof of Colditz. And I used to go and work for him on the harvest, bale bumping. As you can see, these fields are wheat. Yeah, that was really hard work as a teenager. You know, you get really dusty. At the end of the day, your arms used to be scratched to hell. And I'm sorry, there's someone messing with the bins outside if you hear any bangs. And Jack, he was a hell of a good bloke. He used to make his own cider. In fact, some of these, somewhere, it looks like, here they are, apple orchards. Right, and Bulmers used to come around and collect his apples and give him a barrel of the good stuff every year. But he also used to make his own, which he used he used to throw God knows what in it, and at the end of the day, and especially at the end of the harvest, he used to break it out, and we always used to get splendidly pissed on Jack's homemade cider. He was a hell of a good bloke. He used to have this model of the glider, and this is before Channel 4 made their replica of it and worked out it would fly, and he used to get this model out. He used to throw it as high as he could, and it just used to nosedive straight into the ground, and he'd say, I think it would have flown. Anyway, those are my teenage years. Yeah, back to Arrow Mill. I learnt how to tie flies, and recently I found my old recipe book for flies. And so, I don't have anyone to pass it down to. And I invented a few flies which have probably been reinvented by other people, and, you know, I used to spend my life fishing on this little river. Tying flies and trying to entice the trout and grayling that live there. There was also a rather nice weir here where I used to watch salmon jump, but sadly, by the time they made this far up the system, they were out of season. They used to, come up the Wye and go up the Arrow and breed upstream. So I just used to watch them on the times I was there when they were jumping, which was huge fun. But I was essentially alone. I didn't know anyone in this country. I was going to an all-male school, and I was very cut off. So I had to make my own amusement. So here, what I've decided to do is, as I have sadly no one to pass these recipes on to, why not share them with the world? So what I'm going to do is take some photos of my extremely poor handwritten recipes, trout and grayling fly recipes, and I'll just put them in a series up here, and if it interests anyone, it interests someone. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't know. But it's a way of, leaving a very, very minor legacy, if you like. Yeah, my childhood. Phew. Okay, well, I'll take a photo of each page, and if you want to copy it or make note of them, then you can just freeze the video and take a screenshot and then print that off, and then you'll have the recipes that I came up with in the early 70s in rural Herefordshire. Okay, well, thanks very much for listening. I'll see you in the next one.